The point I was trying to make was that Louis had no concept of social distance. I want him to hold everything, especially the babies who are younger than him, so he climbs up there. A remark from Prince Louis caught everyone off guard. His comment against Queen Camilla abruptly altered the tone of an otherwise joyous royal event. It was more than a slip-up. It was genuine, shocking, and everyone is talking about it now. Get into the video if you want to know the truth. Prince Louis's delightful predicament. Prince Louis is more than just William and Kate's youngest child. He's a trainee chaos coordinator for the royal family. From attempting to blow out birthday candles to blowing raspberries at official ceremonies. Besides attending royal events, Louis does a lot more. The whole show is captivated by him. Although he may cause his siblings to reevaluate their decisions in life from time to time, his infectious energy and mischievous smiles have made him a beloved character. Even on the most solemn royal occasion, Louis's mischievous smile and large blue eyes manage to bring a smile to everyone's face. When he's on the palace balcony, he's holding hands with Charlotte courteously. The next, he's showing off his tongue to the public, like Buckingham is his private domain. Perhaps he does, in all candor. He may be known online as the royal family's little mischief maker, but watching him interact with his siblings is very touching. He provides a light-hearted counterpoint to the serious leadership of George and the steady enthusiasm of Charlotte as big sister. The three of them are obviously quite close, despite the fact that he does try their patience from time to time. Now 8 years old, Charlotte is unofficially serving as royal handler for Louis. He frequently makes public appearances with her discreetly guiding him and monitoring his erratic energy outbursts. Just a quickie. The Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey with Kate Middleton. Attendance was new for Louis. The situation was stuffy and formal, but Charlotte was there the whole time to keep him from freaking out. She remained composed and unfazed when Louis attempted to extinguish her candle in the middle of the ceremony. She just grinned and continued on. When Louis was born, their bond was already formed. Photographs taken on Charlotte's 3rd birthday show her holding her younger brother and planting a tender kiss on his head. Ever since then, the two have spent innumerable intimate times together, from fancy dinners to at-home games. George and Louis's relationship has progressed from the typical babysitter dynamic to something more enjoyable. George still finds time for brotherly mischief, even if he is already displaying signs of the seriousness that would characterize the future king. He is 10 years old. When the two are together, they usually pull innocent pranks and snack raids. With Louis around, even though George is the heir, he's constantly one step away from a cookie robbery or a tickle fight. George made sure Louis didn't get lost or start applauding at the wrong moment at Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee by keeping a close eye on him. It was an unexpectedly tender moment. Prince George juggles the expectations of a monarch with those of an elder brother. Louis is even more charismatic when they're at home. A preoccupation with drumming has just taken hold of him. William claims that he can hear the relentless pounding from anywhere in the house. Despite her outward disinterest, Charlotte can't help but feel good about the beat. George, in an effort to seem calm and collected, will often find himself playing along with a bowl of cereal and a spoon. Behind palace walls, the royal kids are as ordinary as the rest of us, as these little moments demonstrate. The names, the movies, the formalities. When it's just the three of them, whether they're arguing over toys or laughing at loud music, they all disappear. Louis was engrossed in a King Kong toy at a recent infant care charity event, but Charlotte stepped up to the plate once again, gently assisting the staff. As if he had just seen a unicorn, his expression changed, and he dashed over to it. Aside from speeches and photo opportunities, no one else cared. However, Louis was enjoying himself to the fullest as a toddler with his stuffed gorilla. Prince Louis's arrival was the type of event that made everyone remember how innocent and awe-inspiring he still is. The whole United Kingdom appeared to let out a sigh of relief when Louis was born on April 23, 2018. As ceremonial gun salutes resounded around the city, bells rung, and crowds gathered outside London's St. Mary's Hospital. Louis Arthur Charles was his name, given by Prince William and Princess Kate, Lord Louis Mountbatten, and his grandpa, King Charles III, were both honored by the name. The name seemed a bit much for a baby, but Louis always seemed to be able to handle it. The Royal Chapel at St. James's Palace was the site of Louis's christening on July 9, 2018. It was a touching, solemn moment. George and Charlotte stood proudly by their baby brother's side as the Archbishop of Canterbury presided over the event. The world got a look at the close relationship developing between the royal brothers in the images taken that day, which exuded love and intimacy. William and Kate have always prioritized providing a secure and joyful childhood for their children, regardless of their public duties. Between his time at Kensington Palace and his escape to the countryside at Anmer Hall, Louis spent his formative years. There he assisted in the cooking, ran amok in the gardens, and played fetch with the family dog. He exuded the typical vitality of a young boy, full of wonder, talkative, and inquisitive. During the 2019 Trooping the Colour ceremony, he made his debut appearance from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. Louis, unlike other babies, was unfazed by the enormous crowd. He confidently waved to everyone, evidently relishing in his regal moment. Louis started going to Wilcox Nursery School, which is close to Kensington Palace, in 2021. He was eager to make new acquaintances on his first day and arrived with a broad grin. Louis brought an innate sense of wonder to the classroom, much like his siblings. When the family moved to Adelaide Cottage in Windsor's home park in 2022, that was the year that changed everything. The new home had more room for the kids to run around in, cleaner air, and larger gardens. In keeping with the family's custom of sending multiple children to the same school, he enrolled with his siblings at Lambroke. Despite his youth, he has witnessed significant royal events. We discover now with the utmost sadness that Queen Elizabeth will pass away in 2022. After Queen Elizabeth II's death, his grandpa became King Charles III, and Louis was formally made fourth in line for the crown. His sister Charlotte kept him close at her heels, all because of the new succession rules. There was a huge coronation ceremony for King Charles on May 6, 2023. As he made an appearance with the family, Prince Louis, dressed in his finest, appeared both charming and a little bit overwhelmed. Louis regained his charisma with his infectious smile and genuine emotion, as Prince George stepped into a more solemn ceremonial position. An otherwise stuffy event felt more comfortable with his presence. Regardless of the gravity of the national issue, he never failed to emphasize that times like these determine the monarchy's fate. Prince Louis is more than simply a comic relief. Beyond what the world observes, his bond with his family is profound. The closeness of his relationships with his parents, grandparents, and great-grandfather, King Charles, demonstrates a solid foundation of support that extends beyond only family history. Despite his occasional naughtiness, he is a much-loved member of the family who injects joy into their otherwise regimented lives. Louis is most familiar with Princess Kate. Aside from being his mother, she is also his constant company even when he has royal duties. Spending time at home, whether it's planting flowers in the garden, baking a cake, or reading a bedtime story, is important to her. Kate flourishes in the mayhem, but Louis's boundless energy keeps her on the go. One of his favorite spots is the garden at Adelaide Cottage, where he can play in the dirt and learn about nature. They make more than simply a hobby out of their creative time together because he shares her love of art. It's an observance. Things Prince William can teach dads. A new type of vitality is brought by Prince William. His approach to parenting Louis is informed by the wisdom he received from his mother, Princess Diana. Their bond is one of unspoken understanding, but also one of joy, shared experiences, and rough-and-tumble play. Having fun with Louis isn't all that William does. He instills in him the importance of family, empathy, and compassion. As Louis spends time with his grandparents, Carol and Michael Middleton, in Bucklebury, he is able to escape the royal pressures that have been building up to this point. There, he had a stable, tranquil upbringing. You can't call Carol just a granny. When they're baking, playing games, or secretly hugging, she's his partner. In the manner that only a grandma can, she imparts love and kindness. Michael, more subdued and quieter, providing serenity and equilibrium. Without rules or cameras, they go for walks, read, and enjoy nature. As significant as a royal appearance is, these instances are of equal importance. Louis also has a significant relationship with King Charles III. He manages to spend quality time with his. Louis pays close attention as his grandfather discusses gardening, trees, and environmental protection. Charles now gently and simply imparts his love of nature to Louis, who has always cared about it. Louis is already developing his worldview through these subtle conversations. Louis is pampered by the love and attention of his grandparents and parents. However, his relationship with Queen Camilla is still in its early stages. That can only be grasped by traveling through time to a period when Prince William's life took a dramatic turn, decades before Louis was even born. William was a child who was always in the spotlight. It appeared flawless from the outside, royal customs, an infinite army of servants, and dazzling parties. However, behind the palace doors, things were more delicate. A rift was growing between Prince Charles and Princess Diana, his parents. Even when no one was filming, William could sense the mounting tension. A fable was beginning to fade. Their disagreements were obvious, despite Charles and Diana's best efforts to maintain amicability. By 1986, they had both started to seek solace in other places. A calm storm ensnared William, who was still quite young, and this aspect of their history helps to clarify why Louis and Camilla's relationship has not progressed to its full potential just yet. A former horse-riding instructor named James Hewitt becomes more than simply a friend to Diana. He becomes a source of solace for her. Charles begins to get back in touch with Camilla Parker Bowles at about the same period. There has been a subtle but noticeable change. The royal couple's inner circle is experiencing it. Both within the palace and among the press, rumors start circulating. The mounting tension was impossible to overlook by 1989. Diana approaches Camilla at a birthday celebration. A woman calmly confronts the other woman who has invaded her marital space. There is no screaming or drama involved. As best it can, the palace is repairing the damage. Princess Anne and Prince Philip even get involved. As an attempt to help Diana understand Charles, Philip writes to her in a letter. The language is professional, yet it has a thoughtful tone. As Diana reads them, she feels both saddened and moved. The fact persists, even though she understands the intentions are kind. No amount of correspondence will save her crumbling marriage, the spills, and their aftermath. Worst-case scenario occurs during the start of the 1990s. The tabloids get their hands on Charles and Diana's private communications. Every detail, from private anguish to rumors about the royal family, reaches the public ear. Prince William, their little son, is caught in the midst of it all, while Charles and Diana sound emotionally distant. This is more than simply a headline for him. His life is falling apart right before everyone's eyes. The divorce was officially finalized in 1992. According to the statement, it is described as amicable, but that is all for show. Cold and intricate things are going on behind the scenes. Tiggy Lege Bork is now Charles's assistant, and Diana is concerned that he is developing an unhealthy relationship with the boy's former nanny. As far as Diana is concerned, there is more going on in the friendship than meets the eye. Even though he is only a little boy, William can sense the gaps in his family's safety expanding. On paper, the divorce settlement was amicable when it was finalized in 1996. There has been a change in personnel, but Diana and Charles still share custody of Harry and William. It doesn't take long for William to figure out that trust isn't always solid, that loves can fade, and that even the most idyllic families have their share of problems. William learns to channel his suffering into something positive as he matures, albeit the anguish remains. When his parents battled, he felt powerless. He recalled how burdensome it felt to shoulder adult issues when he was a kid. Thus, he takes a new approach to starting a family after meeting Kate. He takes on the role of an omnipresent dad. In his spare time, he enjoys playing in the garden, taking his kids on school runs, and laughing readily. Warmth, not chilly formality or calm distance, characterizes this place. A communicative, attentive, and protective spouse he is. His current behavior toward his own family is a product of those years of despair. It takes time for some hurts to heal. William and Camilla may be smiling in public, but their history isn't going away. Especially in regards to his parenting style, that is important. Everyone around Prince Louis loves him. His presence brings joy to Kate, a dedicated mother. As a grandpa, King Charles is fun and amusing, delighted to partake in banter and games. With the exception of Queen Camilla, Louis lives in a vibrant and boisterous world full of laughter and attention. Rarely does she appear to be spending such intimate moments with Louis. No videos of you two baking or going for a stroll in the garden. Her presence is subtle, more akin to a gracious observer than an engaged member. It becomes apparent to others. This is simply the way schedules are, according to some. Some people believe it goes deeper. You have to turn the page in order to grasp that distance. Camilla was an ongoing character in William's upbringing, as he witnessed his mother's anguish. William was silent and courteous in his support of his father's remarriage, though he did not express any strong feelings for the union. Despite the passage of time, an air of formality persisted. As a result, William takes extra precautions to shield his children from harm now that he is a parent. He does his best to keep their relationships relaxed, honest, and unhurried. So maybe Camilla will remain somewhat on the periphery because of that, motivated by respect for personal space rather than animosity. Louis possesses boundless energy and an insatiable curiosity. His observations are sharp, humorous, and full of mischief. He also picks up on the things grown-ups don't say, as most children do. Mood changes are noticed by him. Both familiarity and space are he's over him. Even if he doesn't have all the facts, he knows enough to stick close to people who make him feel safe. Even while Camilla is friendly, she just doesn't appear to have that innate connection with him. She certainly makes an effort. Camilla is there for Charles, puts on a cheerful front at social gatherings, and cracks a smile whenever the kids are there. However, the ones that endure, the ones formed over soiled garden shoes, flower-covered hands, and bedtime tales. It appears that she and Louis are not getting along. You can't call this a family dispute. On the surface, there seems to be no tension, only a subtle understanding. Camilla shows there, but she mostly just watches Louis from the sidelines, and it's all right. Even in the best of circumstances, some relationships just won't blossom. The past can often be seen subtly molding the present. An unexpected link. A closeness between Prince Louis and Queen Camilla is unexpected, but those little moments can say a lot. The royal family assembled at Sandringham for their annual Christmas church stroll. Prince Louis, in his dapper little suit, commanded attention. The commotion surrounding the royal family temporarily subsided, as his smile and brilliant eyes captivated them. Queen Camilla delicately rested a hand on Louis's back as they made their way to the church. Just a quiet, deliberate motion, nothing rehearsed or forced about it. They strolled hand in hand, their voices barely audible. Louis, who is always up to no good, gazed up at her with the innocent wonder of a kid. Even though it was brief, that peaceful moment felt real. Away from the palaces and the journalists, Camilla attended a local event later that season. A woman stopped to talk to a mother who was holding twin boys, both of whom were wearing blue coats. She found the boys amusing. She made the comment that they were like Louis, full of life and motion. Her voice was inviting, and others around her couldn't help but chuckle along. The queen consort wasn't there at the same moment. It was simply a grandma reminiscing over a wonderful grandchild. These fleeting sightings are common. With a wave of his hand or a bouquet of flowers he cut himself. At a summertime charity event, an observer captured the fleeting moment when Camilla bent down to whisper something to Louis. She had a way of making him laugh, and he, really laughed. That endearing giggle that only a toddler can manage, the kind that contaminates the air we breathe. When a family is always in the spotlight, it can be difficult to discern who is being genuine. Others see Camilla's actions as a matter of courteousness. She is able to detect when someone is watching her and respond appropriately. Some, however, think there's greater significance to these fleeting moments. Despite her introversion, she is trying to build relationships with her step-grandchildren. Because of his inquisitive mind and generous spirit, Prince Louis may be able to detect it. Even though he's still a kid, he already knows when someone is being genuinely nice. No one outside the palace will ever have a complete understanding of what goes on inside regardless. Regardless of their preparation or impromptu nature, these delightful encounters undoubtedly hold significance. His presence illuminates each space he walks into. Even the most heartless people can't help but crack a smile when he's in the room. For Camilla, who has weathered the stormiest change in royal family history, in times like these, genuine happiness might be possible. Totally innocent, unadulterated, and unperturbed. A summertime pat on the back, a smile, and a whispered joke. While they do little to alter the family's history, they do provide a gentle touch amidst the storm. Someone like Louis comes up at the most inconvenient times and shows that humanity can still be decent. While some moments were joyful and carefree, others took on a more royal quality. Something out of the ordinary occurred during Princess Catherine's carol service at Westminster Abbey, a night characterized by gentle illumination, singing, and handwritten expressions of appreciation. Kate and William carried their three children's hands as they entered the ceremony with an air of serene pride. With their cards tightly clasped, Prince George and Princess Charlotte kept their messages hidden. Prince Louis, however, being the youngest and frequently the most daring, proudly displayed his card for all to see. The card he had was plain. Louis had penned a heartfelt note of gratitude to his grandparents, Michael and Carol Middleton, in big, rather uneven letters. He gushed about how they made him giggle every time they played games with him. The message was lovely, heartfelt and written in an honest manner, just like Louis himself. Across the aisle, the Middletons were beaming with delight. Rarely does a public event feel so intimately personal as this one did. But after that, I got the creeps. What the small card omitted became apparent to both guests and journalists. The name of Queen Camilla was absent. There were too many eyes on the situation for the absence to go unnoticed for long. A neighboring guest, seeking to inject some humor, leant in and inquired of Louis why Camilla was left out. Everyone was taken aback by the subsequent events. With an abrupt change in expression, Louis glanced upwards. In a low voice, he told Camilla that she was lying. Quietness descended onto the chamber. As Kate reflexively put a hand on Louis's shoulder in a protecting gesture, her smile dwindled. William appeared to pause for a second, unsure of what to say. But Louis persisted in speaking. He casually mentioned that Camilla had said she would play with him, but never actually did. She told him to leave her alone when he attempted to play with her. He described feeling melancholy and bewildered, particularly upon finding her sitting alone after being so looking forward to spending time with her. It was not spoken out of anger. Nobody even brought it up, damaging anyone. Truths like these can only be spoken by a youngster, emphasizing simplicity, authenticity, and unfiltered content. Throughout, Camilla had remained in close proximity. It appeared as though she was initially confused by what she had heard. A tense smile followed. However, a moment of astonishment was visible to everybody who looked closely enough. The room's background noise reduced. I felt a change in energy. They looked at each other. consciousness that something genuine had suddenly emerged before their eyes. Something very different had emerged from what had begun as a joyful occasion. More than simply a name had slipped Lewis's mind. His disappointment was the kind that doesn't make it into news reports or microphones. He had shared it with us. That evening, though, it did. The rest of the globe caught on quickly. Shortly after the event, footage shot by a handful of visitors began to surface online. Video clips of Lewis's modest candor went viral, prompting a mix of shock, appreciation, and conjecture in the comment sections. Many were impressed by his candor. Some people looked at Camilla's face. Several people voiced their opinions on the matter. Kids will say things grown-ups won't. Nothing scandalous happened. No one yelled, and no royal rule was disregarded. However, it managed to become the evening's most talked-about component. The smallest voice can frequently make the biggest impact, even in the most refined royal surroundings. Lewis was unintentionally stirring up trouble. All he did was speak his mind. However, the true story behind that card is now a mystery to everyone. Did it go beyond a simple misunderstanding, or was there more to it? Post a comment below to share your opinions.